Welcome back to another episode of the Jessica Ella podcast. I am your host, Jessica Ella, and today's episode is the second part of the Why Do I series. And the question today is, why do I set these big goals in January for the new year and lose all motivation by February? And the first thing that comes to mind, or the first thing that I want to point out here, is that when there is like a new anything, whether it's a new week, a new day, a new month, or a new year, there is this little boost of dopamine that we get of this feeling of like a new cycle. So we're kind of riding that wave in the beginning of, that it's this new year, new me, fresh intentions. But the reality is, if you haven't done a lot of the deeper inner work, the subconscious reprogramming and identity upgrading, then you're actually going to go into the new year with the exact same version of yourself that you've always been. And so we set these goals, not really thinking about the gap between where we currently are and who we currently are and where we want to be. So we're going to be talking about a few different reasons why this might happen, but the first one that I want to speak about is this identity gap. So we have this version of ourselves that we are right now. We have these subconscious beliefs about who we are and about what's possible for us and about how the world actually works. What happens is when we set these goals, essentially we would need to quit a number of habits and we would have to remove a number of beliefs about ourselves for us to be able to step into this new version of ourselves who can achieve the thing that we want. We see that like a lot of people think that we can just set these goals and through sheer perseverance, we can like push through to get to those goals. And obviously there are some people that are really skilled at that kind of pushing through element, but most of us, we're not actually going to be able to achieve the things on our goals list if we're not doing that work to align the version of ourselves that we need to become with the goal that we want to achieve. So people think that it is about that discipline, about that sheer force. And discipline to me, like, yes, it's something that we need to practice and we need to work through, like becoming a disciplined person. But a lot of the time, what actually stops somebody from being able to achieve what they want to achieve or to be able to stick to something is the subconscious limiting beliefs that come up when they try and step into this goal, into this version of themselves. And so the way that I normally describe it is you say, okay, in the new year, I want to start a business. I want to start my own business. And this goal comes from this like higher place, higher consciousness, this higher version of yourself that dreams and wants and plans and has these big ideas for the future. And these goals kind of drop into us and they're what we want and what we desire. But what happens is once these goals are dropped into our conscious mind, we have to bring them into our subconscious because our subconscious is where we're operating from 95% of the time. And our subconscious is the one that makes things happen. So all of a sudden we have this goal of I want to start the business, and then we pull it into the subconscious and we go, okay, how logically do I get started? And it's like, we need to register for an ABN. We need to do this. We need this X amount of money. And we start to think about the things that we would require to reach that goal. And our subconscious, unfortunately, also is where most of our trauma is stored. It's where most of our past limiting experiences are stored. And so you have this desire to start a new business, and all of a sudden your mind starts telling you, you're not good enough. You're not smart enough. You don't have enough money. It's not safe to do this. Maybe next year, and all of these limiting thoughts and beliefs and patterns come up. And most of us aren't even consciously aware that this is happening. Like most of us are doing this on repeat and we're allowing the thoughts to take over without ever actually going, hold on a minute, this is my subconscious doing that thing. It's stepping in, it's trying to keep me safe, it's trying to keep me small, it's trying to keep me where I've always been, which is what feels comfortable. And it's kind of taking over and we don't know how to like quieten that subconscious down or look at and remove those beliefs so that we can step into this version of ourselves who believes that it's possible, believes that it's available to us. And what happens is we just believe the thoughts. We have the thoughts come up, we believe the thoughts, and the thoughts create action and they further solidify those beliefs that we've already got. So you quit before you even start and then you're like, see, I knew I was a failure. I knew I couldn't make it happen. And you just become this self-fulfilling prophecy. So when we're looking at our goals, we actually also need to be looking at who is the version of us that we need to become in order to achieve those goals. Because it's not just about pushing through sheer force to get to that point, because most people can't do that. That's why you fail in February, because you might have a little bit of like that dopamine, that excitement, that like new year, new me feeling, but your subconscious is going to take over very quickly and pull you back into old patterns. You can't break the patterns until you change the subconscious beliefs that are creating the patterns. It's the same as self-sabotage. People say, oh, I'm so bad at self-sabotaging. It's like, you're not bad at self-sabotaging. You just have good intentions, and then your subconscious beliefs kick in and say, you don't deserve that, you're lazy, you're this, you're that, and all of a sudden you're giving up, because those beliefs paired with this emotion of like guilt and shame and failing in the past, maybe it's some rejection, those feelings that come up with those beliefs bring you down and bring your vibration down so much that you just end up going back to the same old patterns. So it's not self-sabotage. It's actually just you aligning with the current set of beliefs that you already have. And the subconscious beliefs that you have are not actually even your own. Like, most of the subconscious beliefs that you have decided about who you are and how the world works and what's available and possible for you has come from your childhood, from what other people said to you, projected onto you, experiences that you've had, and the limited sort of understanding that you had as a child of what was happening around you. So if you've come from, like, say, poorer upbringing, and what's been available to you and what you believe is accessible to you is what you've been modeled and what you've witnessed and what you've experienced, there's going to be a part of you that, you know, you could be offered this huge job opportunity for 10 times the amount of money of what you ever thought was possible. And these people will find themselves not actually taking that opportunity because they don't believe that they deserve it, because it doesn't line up with who they've been taught that they are. There is infinite possibilities of what's available to you. But what you actually see and focus on and know and actually believe and can, like, you literally, some people, our subconscious is so strong that we can't even see that the love of our life is just right there, or that the job of our dreams is just right there. Like, we actually just can't even see it, because that's how our brain is designed. It only sees what we think is true to us, which is our subconscious beliefs. So if you go into this like inspirational mode and you're writing this list of, I want to do this and this and this in 2026, and I want this fitness goal and this, you know, financial goal, and I want my life to look like this and feel like this. And if it is so far away from where you're currently at, that the gap is too big in your identity, the gap is too big, and you're gonna quickly fail. And then you're gonna be proving that subconscious belief of, I'm a failure true. I never follow through with my 2026 goals. Like, that's a belief that if you're working with a therapist who can remove subconscious beliefs, that's the first one that needs to go. I never follow through. I never follow through on my New Year's resolutions. Like, those need to even be like cancelled and removed before you can even think about writing that new list. But we do have to look at this identity gap. Who am I now, and who would I need to become? What kind of person would I need to show up as? Like, if I wanted to run a half marathon next year, like, what kind of person do I have to become to do that? Okay, well, I have to like probably get up earlier, because my current daily routine I don't have any time to train for that. So I'd have to get up an hour earlier if I wanted to do that. And if you're like, have this belief of, I'm not a morning person and I can't get up early and I hate getting up early, then you're probably not going to go through with that goal. You literally have to become a different version of yourself to achieve that goal, which is what most people don't want to hear. They just want to feel really good and write the list out and have these like good intentions, ride the dopamine for a little bit, and then be like, oh, you know, no one follows through on their New Year's resolutions, because it's hard. It's actually really hard to do that work to up level and to align. The second part to this is your nervous system, because your nervous system has actually been programmed similar to your subconscious mind with what is and isn't safe. So there's this level of like, I know that for me, there's certain fitness goals that I will try to achieve, but my nervous system is too damaged, we will say, at certain times to actually achieve those. So there's like a level of reconditioning your nervous system to making certain things feel safe. So there's a lot of coaches who talk about being able to hold more money and being able to like hold more discomfort. And what they're actually talking about is like getting our nervous system accustomed to kind of stretching, which is being able to feel a little bit uncomfortable, but continue to move through that experience. So what this looks like is setting achievable goals that are like one bite size at a time that we can sort of regulate as we're achieving those goals. So what also happens is people set this big audacious goal, which is great, but their nervous system can't hold it because the current version of them is living in fight or flight, and where they'd actually need to be is like thriving and calm and regulated, and their nervous system just is not there. It's not ready to receive that. But also it's too big of a jump, and they just becoming this entirely new version of themselves feels really unsafe and unsettling. So what we want to do is just kind of like find the edge, like where just feels a little bit uncomfortable and a little bit scary that we can sort of push to, that we would actually be able to hold, not something that's so audacious that feels outrageous that we would literally have to become an entirely different person. Our nervous system is not going to like that. And what happens is if the body doesn't feel safe or the nervous system doesn't feel safe, it's going to shoot you down really quick. And what that looks like is fatigue, burnout, pain, sickness, things like that, because the body is like, hold on. This doesn't feel safe. We need to slow down, and it will do whatever it needs to do to slow you down. So making sure that those goals are like bite-sized, achievable, like spread out throughout the year. Like don't just write, I want to run, a half marathon or a marathon. Spread that out into like, what does that look like over the year that is like working up to this goal? What's manageable for your nervous system? What's manageable for your life? And actually separating it into those bite-sized pieces so that your nervous system can hold it. If you don't know how to regulate your nervous system and you have no idea what state your nervous system's even in, or how to like hold emotions and hold more money and hold new experiences in the nervous system, this is the kind of thing that we teach in the Trigger to Thriving program, which I mention all the time because it's freaking amazing. So look up that program. It's self-led. That can help you, guide you through those steps and those stages. But the other thing as well is that something that not a lot of people really think about is that the goals that you're writing, the things that you want to achieve in 2026, need to align with your values. And there are so many people that I speak to that don't even know what their values are. Like, I'm like, what's your top 5 values? What do you mean? Like, what's your values? What do you value the most in life? What is the most important thing to you? And who is it important that you are showing up as you achieve those goals? And a lot of the time what happens is people write goals that have no emotion and no value behind them. And if there's no values behind them and that therefore no emotion, no pull, you're going to quickly fizzle out. So if your goals are completely superficial, or they're just kind of like, Instagram, everyone's trying to manifest this many K months, or this goal body, or this partner, or this like dream job, or whatever, if you're looking at it superficially, it's not going to manifest very quickly because there's no feeling behind it. And in order to actually manifest, we actually have to really feel and see ourselves in that life and in that experience. And it has to align with who we are and what we care about. And so if superficial things is what you care about and it lights you up, then great, go for it. But a lot of people, once I actually question them when we go through this, when I ask them what their values are, and I use the morbid example of like, if you knew that 2026 was your last year, what would you do with that year? I know that for me, it would be like, I'd still do healing work and I'd still be learning about healing because it's my obsession, but I would spend most of my time with my children. I would spend most of my time with my family and my friends, and I would want to feel relaxed and alive and excited and happy for most of that year. I wouldn't want to be wasting my days with stress and with worrying about the small things. So I know that for me, my values is family and love and connection and freedom. And so whenever I write out my goals, sometimes I have these grand ideas of like, I'm going to open an event space, or I'm going to open this, or I'm going to do that. And then I feel into it and I'm like, how does this align with my values? And I bring it back to this, and it goes, okay, you'd have to be at the physical space, which means that you couldn't be as flexible with picking up your kids from school. You'd have to have someone manning it. You'd have a lease, therefore you wouldn't have the freedom to work from anywhere, which you currently do. And all of a sudden it's like, nah, that's a no. It's a great idea, but that it does not align with my values. But a lot of people have these grand ideas and get excited and run with it, and then they go, oh no, that's not for me, or it doesn't feel good, months or years into it. When actually what we need to figure out is what are those values and how do we design our life and our goals around those values. So start to think about not just what you want, but how you want to feel. So for me, there's a lot of the things that I want to manifest, or a lot of the things that are on my goals list are combined with this. I want this because it's going to make me feel more free. I want this because it's going to make me feel more healthy. It's going to make me feel more vibrant in my body. I want this because it's going to make me feel more loved. I want this because it's going to make me feel a sense of power or strength. There's got to be an emotion behind it. And, it could be, I want to start boxing lessons, and you never follow through, but it's like, I've been wanting to start boxing lessons because for my whole life I felt powerless, and I want to feel really strong in my body so I can fight back. I am telling you right now, writing down boxing lessons versus writing down boxing lessons because this is why I want to do it and this is who I want to be and I am powerful and strong, that has so much more power in it. There's got to be a why. And if you don't know why you want what you want, you're probably not going to get it. You need to know why. Why do I want this thing? Why do I need this thing? What's it bringing to me that I don't already have? And then also looking at where that's coming from. Is it coming from a higher place or is it coming from a wound? Because you can have this thing of like, I need this thing because it's going to make me feel this way because you're lacking that. And I always think of these things, they should be like icing on the cake. So for instance, if you are like, I love my life. My life is perfect. It's amazing. But I just really want that special someone to be the icing on the cake. I want love and romance. And this year I really want to have a relationship because life's so good and I want to share it with someone. That's a very different experience or a very different energy that's coming from versus I'm lonely and I'm alone and no one loves me. I feel like I'm never going to find somebody. And this year I really want to find somebody because I feel empty without somebody. Very different energy, very different place that they're coming from. So what I would say to this person is if you're manifesting from a wound and if you're going, okay, this is my fitness goals and my health goals for the year because I'm ugly, fat, disgusting, you're probably not going to achieve it because you feel that way. And those beliefs and those feelings are going to pull you back into that until you remove the subconscious beliefs of I'm ugly, fat, and disgusting. And where you learned that, where did you learn that? Who taught you that? Who told you that? Why do you believe that? And so we need to be going back and healing that so that when we go to write that goals, it's like, I feel really good in my body, but I'm ready to feel stronger and more powerful, and to be the fittest and healthiest I've ever been because I deserve that. I fucking deserve to have that body that I want and I deserve to feel strong. It's got to come from what I would call like a clean energy. It's got to come from a positive place. And if you look at your goals list and you realize that anything is coming from a wound, that's where we want to be going, okay, this is where we need to go in a little bit deeper and we need to heal the wounds so that we can upgrade that identity to align with the things that we're wanting to manifest. I was this person who couldn't stick to anything, couldn't stick to any of my New Year's resolutions. It was me forever. And it was because I hadn't actually addressed any of these things. I was trying to manifest from wounds. I was constantly trying to prove myself. Like a lot of the success that I've had in my life came from trying to prove that I was worthy through business success. And honestly, in all of my past businesses, it just felt like it never felt like enough. I would get to the X amount of clients that I wanted, or when I was in weddings, my goals was like 100 weddings a season, and I'd hit those goals and I'd still feel empty. I'd still feel lacking. I'd still feel like I wasn't important. And I was using those goals to try and fill a void. And once I actually started to look at what is that void and why is it there, and I actually started to heal those past traumas and those past events and those subconscious beliefs, I started to actually align with and attract the things that I wanted with so much more ease. Like, it shouldn't be so hard. So if you're in this stage and you feel like it's really difficult for you to manifest, it's because there is a gap. And it is because it is potentially coming, the things that you want are potentially coming from these wounds and not from this clean place. So the way that we want to set goals is we want to make sure, I guess in summary, that they align with our values. They are meeting an edge. They're a little bit uncomfortable, but they are not wildly uncomfortable. They're not like, this would be an absolute dream and it's probably never going to happen. It's like, I could probably manage that. Like, for instance, if your goal, the marathon is a great example, but like if your goal is the marathon, maybe that's a goal for like 5 years time. Maybe this year you just want to be able to run 10 kilometers. Like, we need to start looking at what's realistic and also actually creating these like bite-sized goals that are actually achievable. So we're not setting ourselves up for failure. And also getting off Instagram and like deleting Instagram and tuning into yourself and being like, what do I actually want? Not what is everybody else doing, not what looks good, what feels good. And starting to write those goals from that place, that's going to be so much safer for your nervous system than pushing for something that looks good on the outside, because that always is going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to be like you're wearing this mask and like you're living somebody else's life, and it's never going to feel good if it doesn't feel good. It's never going to feel good if it's not right for you. So the one thing that I want you to do differently this New Year's is don't rush into writing your goals. Don't rush into writing them on the 1st of January because it's the first day of the year. Actually, it's probably going to be better for you not to like hijack that dopamine and ride that wave, to actually spend the entire month writing out your goals. So spend the month doing the work, writing out, these are my goals. Why are they my goals? What's the feeling that's going to come from them? How do they align with my values? Like, write this down on a piece of paper and map it out. And look at what's achievable and look at how you can break that down into steps and spend the month. Because this is the thing, so many of us are fast acting, we're black and white, and we ride the wave and we dive down just as quickly. And so we want to get used to this like slow consistency. So for those of you who are listening who, want the bang, you want it right now and you want it to all happen really fast, it fizzles out. So let's make a goal of spending the entire month writing out how the rest of the year is going to look. Let's actually spend that time really getting deep in on why you want what you want, and then looking at the wounds that you have, the wounds that have like sort of come up as a result of this process, the gaps in your identity, the subconscious beliefs that come up that say you can't do that. That's not available for you. You never follow through on things. All of those beliefs, writing them down and then working with somebody who can actually remove those subconscious beliefs from your subconscious mind so that you can actually step into this new identity. You can actually start to step into this new version of yourself. And that takes time. You're going to need to do a few sessions. You're going to need to do some deep diving. So that's why we're going to give ourselves that month so that we can start to actually move through those blocks and obstacles. And that might take you the whole year eventually to kind of come up against each goal and then look at what comes up and what blocks you. But it's not a sign that you're failing, and it's not a sign that you're self-sabotaging. It's not a sign that you're pathetic and worthless and wrong. It's a sign that there's something else there that needs to be healed. It's not a stop, it's a slow down. It's a slow down, hold on, there's something here we need to look at. So Happy New Year to everybody who is listening to this. Happy New Year. And I hope that you've taken something from this episode and that you can start to map out those goals and have a bit of a clear direction this year around how to actually set the goals and how to actually become the version of you that can achieve them. If you know somebody who needs to listen to this episode, somebody who's about to spend their 1st of January writing their goals down like crazy, and you think maybe they need to hear this, please send it on to them, and I will see you in the next episode.